Plaintiff Bruce Ezell says the defendant is an opportunist who wanted Bruce to be her sugar daddy. Bruce claims the defendant constantly asked him to pay for things, but he refused, and he's suing her today for unreturned property. Defendant Pamela Abrams says when she met Bruce, they were both married. And despite the fact that he actively pursued a relationship with her, they were never more than friends. Pamela is countersuing Bruce for harassment.
Start with you.
Pam is an opportunist, and she's all about herself, and I refuse to be a sugar daddy for her.
What gives you that impression?
Well, we go out to clubs, we go out to the parties, happy hour, and things like that, and I always find myself paying for everything. And
were you all out on dates?
No, we're just out as friends.
Gotcha.
And that's why I never went no further than that.
Okay.
I mean, she got work done in her car, and she thought I was supposed to be the one to pay for it, and it was her car.
She asked you to?
Yeah.
Okay.
I said, no. She borrowed my truck to go to Buffalo to a family reunion, and she got mad at me because I didn't gas the truck up. Mm-hmm. And then thought I was supposed to gas the car that was sitting in her yard when she come back.
Ma'am?
Your Honor, that's a lie. As far as me being an opportunist, I did meet Bruce in a club, and he pursued me then, but he was married, I was married. He told lies from then. He said he had 3 kids. He had 5 with a baby on the way. Recently in May, Memorial Day weekend, we seen each other at the same club. We started reconnecting, just talking. At that point, he wanted to take things further because I'm separated. He said he was separated, and I found out early that Bruce was an alcoholic, a liar, and that he was messing around with other women.
What about having your car fixed and him paying for it and gassing your car up?
Never asked him for those things. Those things certainly were an issue, but they weren't his issue. He wasn't my man. I never asked him. He actually offered to fix the mirror that was on my car because my inspection was coming up. I didn't ask him to do that. I actually had my husband, who's still a friend of mine, that he was jealous of the relationship I have with my husband. So I knew my husband would take care of that. And he insisted on taking care of some things just to try to build himself up.
So were you offering her things?
No, Your Honor, that's not true.
Okay. What property are you suing about?
I'm suing about my 2 TVs that I have in a wall mount. I have a 65-inch and a 51-inch and a wall mount. Okay, I picked them up from Sears. She said I can store them in her basement because I was in the transition.
You were homeless?
No, I wasn't homeless. I was staying with my sister. And I was on the transition to get my own apartment, which I have now.
No.
Which I have now. And she didn't give me a timetable or anything like that.
Lies.
And so when I went to go attempt to get my stuff on August 15th, me and my friend,
Were they still in the box?
Yes.
Lies.
They stayed in the box?
Yes, they were in the box when I left them.
You went to get them?
And I went to go pick them up. When I first pulled up in the yard, she came home, she ran around the car and ran into the house and shut the door.
Why?
How long after leaving them did you try and pick them up?
I dropped them off on the 16th of June. I went to pick them up. August 15th was the first time.
Okay, and tell me how that went again. You called her and said, hey, I'm coming to pick my televisions.
Exactly.
You all were still all right with each other, right?
That's what I thought. I just let her know that I was coming to get my things.
Okay.
First, she didn't answer the phone. And then the second time she answered, she tells me to stop calling her.
Okay. And did you ask for your television?
Yes, I did.
And she heard you ask for it, and that was her response. All right, and then what happened after that?
I called the police.
Okay.
And I had the police come there, so it won't be no problems.
Good.
They came, they knocked on the door, one knocked on the front door, and I haven't given a number for them to call. She didn't respond. She was there, but she didn't respond. So the cop told me to come back another time, we'll try again. But you might have to take her to small claims. So that following Friday, I tried the same thing again.
With the police or without?
With the police each time. And she did the
After
same.
the fact.
She did the same thing. Wouldn't answer the door.
How do you know she was in there?
So, because she looked out at Friday, she looked out her blind.
You saw her looking out?
Her car was there and she looking out the blind.
The police were with you?
Yes.
Did they see her?
Yeah, but she never come out. They ain't gonna just go in the house and make her come out.
Right.
And we're standing there on the porch and you can hear her walking up the steps. She got creaky steps.
You're a liar.
We can hear her walking up the steps. And then the one cop told me, he said, well, she's probably in there looking at her right now. So I got pissed off. I said, okay. I said, what you do is try one more time. She's in a nice area. She's in a nice neighborhood. She's going to get tired of seeing the cops out here. So, okay, we tried one more time, and that was that following.
Police as well.
Police
the police
as well.
go with you 3 times. Go ahead.
And so we came out there the 3rd time, which was Monday. But this time, I didn't drive my car. I was with a friend of mine. So I know her daughter does cheerleading, so we know she's going to pick her up about 7 because I used to take her there.
They got a sting going.
Okay, so so my friend was in his car and he seen her pulling off, so he told me. I said, okay, so I parked my car 2 streets down from her house. He's telling me she's on her way. I see her now. I said, okay, so I called the cops so we can catch her outside this time.
Let her finish.
So we can catch her outside this time. So she pulls up, and me and my friend pulled up in his car. She don't know his car, so I called her from his phone. She said, stop calling me again. Okay. The cops pulled up at the same time. She came out the car with her daughter. And I explained to the cops why I was here. He said, okay, let me talk to her. She started ranting and raving about getting off her property and don't come near my house and this and that and that and this. And I said, I'm just trying to get my property. And so the cop went talking to her and she wasn't listening. So he said, look, she's being very hard-headed and you're just going to end up taking her to small claims court. So that's what I did, wouldn't foul, and that's how we ended up where we at.
Your Honor, that's a lie. As far as me being an opportunist, I did meet Bruce in a club and he pursued me then, but he was married, I was married. And I found out early that Bruce was an alcoholic, a liar, and that he was messing around with other women.
Plaintiff Bruce Ezell says the defendant is an opportunist who wanted him to be her sugar daddy. But the defendant denies that and claims Bruce wanted to date her.
Ma'am, let me hear your side.
Your Honor, he's a liar, and much of that is a lie. He's harassed me. Those 3 times
Let's talk about the televisions first. Did he bring televisions over to your home?
He did bring them, yes.
What was the purpose? To store them?
To store them in my basement.
All right. And what occurred after that?
Because he wanted to be with me, he wanted a relationship. He was coming because he had a lot to bring to the table. This is what his quotes was. I know what I bring to the table.
TVs.
TV. And
if I don't bring no gas, I bring television. You get your gas from the minor players. I'm major, I bring television.
Pretty much.
All right.
Yes.
Go ahead. But you say he brought them there to store them.
He brought them there to store. When I told Bruce he could store his things in the basement, he said the TVs can go in your house. One can go upstairs and one can go in the penthouse, meaning my bedroom. And I told him, I said, no, because if you put them in my house.
Hold on, how he know about your penthouse in the bedroom?
No, he's never been
telling on yourself.
No, Your Honor, no. He knew because I just recently bought my house. And part of the things that we talked about in getting to know each other again in May was that I didn't want to have a serious relationship right away, but we could talk, be friends, and see where it goes.
I'm just having fun with you a little. But let's talk about him when he tried to come and get it. Did he call you?
He did not. No, he did not.
He never called for his television?
Never.
He just showed up at your door?
3 days after I seen him out in a club with another woman.
You all had a dispute?
We said nothing. He was on the dance floor when I walked in, the same club we met in. I was kind of surprised because I'm thinking, this is weird. I said, but maybe he's just dancing. After the dance, he went and sat down with the woman. I sat down, looked right at him. He wouldn't look at me. A short while later, he and her left. I didn't hear from him again. That was on a Sunday.
I didn't hear from... She ain't smashed those televisions, let alone not give them to you.
Exactly.
Go ahead. You say exactly. Go ahead.
After that, he came to my house. He showed up with a friend of his. I'm not sure if it was Mike that time. Was it you, Mike, that time?
No.
Mike ain't come. Mike too busy sleeping. Like he's sleeping today. Go ahead. Sir, don't sleep in my courtroom. In a minute, I'm accused you of using hair rods. No. You don't look like you would, but you're doing all that nodding. Go ahead. You know I'm dope fiend conscious. I think half the people come before me dope fiends, so don't you buy into that. Go ahead. So how did that go when he showed? You didn't come to the door? You didn't answer the door?
I did not.
All right. And he never called? He came again without calling?
Yes.
Did he ever come with the police?
He did. The police didn't meet him there. He was there hours. It had to be 2 hours one of the times he came, just not. He wouldn't leave my driveway.
Did you come out and speak to the police?
Absolutely not.
Why?
Because when he came, I'm thinking he's going to cause a scene. I started to call the police. And the only reason why I didn't call the police, because I'm a new...
All right, but once they did come, why didn't you speak with them?
I should have. I absolutely should have. But because I knew he was out there drunk with another friend.
You didn't have to worry about him. The police were out there.
That's true.
Do you have his property? If so, why won't you return it? What do you want to tell me about that?
Those TVs were gifts. He came into my house. He came into my house telling me what he brings to the table. And I said, you can have your stuff stored in...
Trust me.
I said, you can store your stuff in my basement. That's fine, Bruce. He was like, no, I'm trying to get up in the penthouse. I said, anything go up in my house is not leaving. He was like, that's okay. I don't have a problem with that because we're going to be together.
What's your counterclaim, ma'am? How did he harass you?
Okay, he harassed me, Your Honor, by coming to my house 3 times unannounced. He stayed in my driveway each time for more than an hour. He had my neighbors wondering what was going on. I heard my neighbors telling one of the grandsons that they were going to call the police. So I don't know that he
Out of the 3 times, you never came to the door once?
No, the first...
Why?
Your Honor, because only reason, and this is the only reason why I didn't, because when he came, he had already caused such a scene and ruckus. I didn't want to go out there and confront him. And I figured if I was going to get him his stuff, he would call me and say, Pam, I want my stuff out your basement, which was a box. It wasn't TVs. The TVs were in the house. So he knew he wasn't coming for those. Because he wanted to be with me, he wanted a relationship. He was coming because he had a lot to bring to the table. This is what his quotes was. I know what I bring to the table.
TVs.
TV.
Plaintiff Bruce Ezell says the defendant is an opportunist who wanted him to be her sugar daddy. But the defendant denies that and claims Bruce wanted to date her.
Ma'am, quite frankly, it sounds to me if he came with the police and you wouldn't open up the door even to tell the police these are gifts. Sounds like you were dodging him and the police. You wouldn't come. How can you not come to the door and the police are outside with him and you?
No.
Crawling.
No, Your Honor.
You crawling, yeah.
No, Your Honor, no. That's not how it went. Not quite like that. He was out there for at least an hour or 2 before the police showed up.
All right, I'm going to grant you your judgment. I do believe she was dodging you. You came there with the police, and she wouldn't even come to the door with the police. Now, I think that you were upset when you saw him with the woman. He came there for his television. He said, he ain't getting these. I don't care who he brings. He can bring the police. He can bring the National Guard.
No.
Judgment for the plaintiff. Your claim dismissed, ma'am. You did this because you're upset about that woman. Have a good day.
I'm glad he can now leave me alone. I never intended on this happening. All he had to do was call me, and I would have had his box of things taken to the door for him.
These girls ain't loyal. I mean, I looked at her as being a friend, and then she want to take it to another step and be an opportunist and try to take advantage. Everybody out here ain't sugar daddies, and everybody else ain't going to always get you what you want. You got to work for yours like everybody else.